the Whiskey Lover Society of Michael, and today we are continuing on the series on the Glencadam distillery. So this is part 2 of a 3-part series. The first one that I reviewed was the 10-year-old Glencadam, and I'll put a link in the description as well. So today we are looking at the 15-year-old Glencadam, still very light in color. It is a whiskey from the Glencadam distillery that is owned by Angus Dundee, and they've been operating for about 60 years in the whiskey industry. So in the link you'll also find a little bit more information with regards to this whiskey. They're also the home of the Tomentel whiskey, the old Belantraun whiskey, and numerous other whiskies that they also produce. But of course today we are looking only at the Glencadam, the 15-year-old, and the next series will be on the Tomentel series as well, which also will have 3 whiskies. So on the 15-year-old, it is a Highland single malt whiskey. It is bottled at 40% ABV. It will cost you around 65 euros for a bottle. So it's not cheap, but I don't think it's overly priced for a 15-year-old, considering some other brands that can be quite expensive and more expensive than this one. So about 60 odd, depending on where you buy it. And if I look at the color, it's a little, I think maybe 1 or 2 points darker than the 10-year-old, which we expect. So a little bit more of the oak influences. If I did a little bit of digging on this one as well, just to find out if they have the type of wood. It's very difficult to find this information, and I find it a little bit frustrating. But the presumption is that they used ex-bourbon casks. But when I look on my website, maybe I missed it, I don't know, but I could not find the exact wood, or was it maybe virgin oak, I don't know. But the presumption is that it is ex-bourbon, because most of the whiskies will have ex-bourbon in it. So I presume this will be ex-bourbon as well. No sherry cask influence. If you look at the coloring, the color of it, it's no color was added. It's non-chill filtered. So ticking the boxes again. Same with the 10-year-old. So it would be quite interesting to find out the difference between the 10-year-old and the 15-year-old. And for the last review, I'm going to do the 21-year-old. And I also have a 25-year-old that I'm going to make a little bit of a comparison in the end. So enough about the whiskey. On the nose. Wow. Every time I nose the 10-year-old, I was surprised with how much I like it. And I think I was so getting used to the sherry casks influences, the sherry notes, that I forgot there is more to life than just the sherry cask. So on this one, it is the alcohol, a very light alcohol, even at 46% ABV. It's quite a light one. But of course, if you're going to agitate it and you stick your nose in it, that a little alcohol hit is going to be there. So the first thing that I get on this one is a little the alcohol notes, more like a white wine type of alcohol. So it's not very strong on the nose. Quite perfumey again, and I saw that in a 10-year-old that there is a perfume note to it. And what stands out the most for me on this one is actually the apple notes. So you have a nice, fresh, crisp apple note to it. And I think it's going to be more like a red apple note. Like a apple juice, when you get a nice ice cold apple juice. So I get something in that direction. More here in Belgium, we have this bio shop where they have all this bio fruits, bio everything, and they also have a homemade apple juice. It reminds me a lot like that. The fresh squeezed apple juice, nothing added to it, just the apple juice. So quite similar to that. So quite perfumey. And you know, when you go to India and you get all the shops, it's got this incense burning, but it's not an intense one. You just, when you walk past the shop, you get that perfumey sensations coming up. This is it. Quite a lot of a perfume for me. So apple pie reminds me quite of apple pie, and I saw that in the 10-year-old as well. The mixture of the apple and the cinnamon that combines, but this one is a little bit dialed up, a little bit more intense. So really nice on the nose. It a little bit of a creamy toffee, or something like Bailey's. You know, when you have an alcohol and you get that little creamy note, a little toffee note that's in the Bailey's, or in South Africa the Amarula. That's the note that I get as well. It's got a nice creamy nose to it. So enough of the nosing, on the taste. Cheers. Again, I am so surprised that the sweetness of it. If I take my nosing and I take the red apple out of it, and I take the vanilla note maybe out of it, and I take a cinnamon out of it, and I think of the apple pie, it just translates into that for me. I get the apple note, quite similar to the apple cider that you get, the Strongbows, and South Africa, the Savannahs. So I get that crisp apple, red apples. I get the little vanilla. I get the cinnamon, and almost no oak. So very low on the oak as well. And considering it's 15 years old, so I expected a little bit, because it is from the American ex-bourbon cars. So you don't expect to pull a lot of tannins from it. Considering if I would have put it in a European oak casket, the bitter notes, the coffee notes, the espresso notes will definitely be more prominent after 15 years. But on this one, I don't get any of the tannins or the oakiness. So yeah, that's quite nice. So, but I'm gonna have to try again. So the sweetness and the apple it's on the dry side. So, and I'm sorry I keep on referencing it, but we have it's an apple cider in South Africa called the Savannah. And the tagline is, it's dry, but you can drink it. And this is what I get as well, a little bit of a dryness. So it's crisp red apple, but you've got a little dryness in your mouth, dry mouthfeel when you swirl it around in the mouth. It leaves your mouth a little bit on the dry side. Now I get a little bit of the oak. After the second sip, it built up, and with the third sip now, I do see or I do taste a little bit of the bitterness, but it's barely visible. But I do get it in the background. So I've got the sweetness, I've got the caramel, I've got the apple, I've got a little bit of a cinnamon, a little bit of a vanilla, and a little bit of the oak now coming in, but nothing too dark. So a little bit more oak, more like a little bit of a espresso note, I think. It is it's quite nice. And yeah, do I like it? Ooh, that's just nice. And I think what are also nice is with a hint of dryness in the end. So it's not a long finish. It's quite medium. Sweetness, the little oakiness coming through, and it leaves your mouth with a balance of the sweetness, the oakiness, and a little bit of a dryness in the mouth. Of course, if a dryness in the mouth, you need some more, so why not? I have to keep hydrated. For me, score-wise, I think I'm going to give it a little bit higher than the 10-year-old. So I'm thinking maybe a 84, 85, 85 out of 100. It is really nice. For me, what I really appreciate the fact that the nosing notes translate into the tasting notes. And I like that, because you start with your eyes, they say, then your nose, and then your taste. And when I smell this fantastic smells coming out, and I put it in my mouth, I expect to taste that as well. So with a lot of whiskey, of course, that's not possible. So then I also have to discuss, because on this one, I was looking for some of the stock photos for the video, and on the Glencadam website, they gave a description on what the noses are, what they smell like, they taste like. And well, normally I would not even look at it, but this one's jumped out at me. And I'm going to read you what their palate notes were. And I was discussing this with my son, and we could not understand why they would say something like that, considering this is their notes. And it says juicy cut grass freshness with a mouth-watering malt signature. Now, I can understand it if somebody make an association somehow that it smells like juicy cut grass is how the hell did they get to juicy cut grass? I mean, if I can understand if you are a sheep and you say, oh, this grass is nice and juicy. So for me, I don't get it. Why would they use a description of juicy cut grass? Please, Glencadam, have a look at it. I'm not a whiskey expert. I do like whiskey. I do like words. I like descriptive words, but cut grass, really, for me makes no sense. So maybe have a look at that. And also maybe on the bottle, put a little bit of information on the casks. I couldn't find anything. So with that, rant over. Glencadam, it is a fantastic dram. I cannot wait to step up to the 21-year-old and to see what's in that one. So thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye out for part 3 and also the comparison with the 25-year-old. Also, please remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and help my channel also for future videos. So thank you very much. Cheers.